Mr. Sitoh Yih Pin.
Sir, I'm an accountant by training, and I must confess to having an inclination for numbers. Every budget statement, I reach first for the budget numbers for the financial year and compare them with previous years. I do so not because Minister Heng's annual budget statements are unimportant, they are always enlightening, but because, like many of my generation and those before me, fiscal sustainability and financial prudence are foremost on my mind. Numbers, I have found, give me the clearest indication of both. Sir, there are trends that emerge from the numbers and significant decisions taken by the government as a result. I rise today to speak on these trends and decisions. First, increasing expenditure. Our expenditure has increased significantly over the years. This in on itself is no surprise. Minister Heng raised in his budget statement several domestic demographic issues that confront us: an aging population, social mobility, inequality, economic transformation, and climate change. I would add the need for infrastructure expansion and renewal. To address these issues, monies need to be spent. There are no two ways about it. The numbers confirm this. For example, the Ministry of Health's expenditure increased from approximately $3.8 billion for financial year 2009 to an estimated $11.7 billion for this financial year. This is about a threefold increase in 10 years. This in part is due to our aging population. In my constituency of Potong Pasir, more than 40% of my residents are above 50 years old. 1 in 5 above 65. Even as I speak, we are building 1 nursing home and 1 senior day care center within our constituency. There is a genuine need for these healthcare facilities. An aging population is the reality on the ground. The government needs to look after our seniors, and therefore we expect national healthcare expenditure to continue to increase in the future. Sir, I will now speak on paying for this increased expenditure. The trend on expenditure is therefore quite clear. Increased expenditure is also likely required in defense, education, transport, just to name 3 other sectors. The question is, how do we pay for these expected increases in expenditure? For the financial year 2009, overall expenditure was approximately $57 billion. In 2019, this has increased to an estimated $80.3 billion. Every year, the net investment returns, NIR, which represent our returns on our invested reserves, contribute about 20% of our budget. The fact is that without the NIR, our budgets will be substantially in deficit every year. Of the total NIR every year, 50% is used to contribute to the budget, and the other 50% reinvested as part of our reserves to ensure continued sustainable contribution to budgets of the future. There are those who advocate for more NIR to be used for the present, but I think the current arrangement is fair. As they say in Hokkien, "Jing nan jipwa," half for this generation and half saved for future generations. So having said that, are there any other alternatives? In business, when expenses exceed income, we balance our budgets either by increasing revenue or reducing expenditure. But, sir, expenditure is unlikely to decrease in the short term. Our domestic demographic dictates this, and the need for infrastructure expansion and renewal is a pressing one. There are also no magic bullets to significantly increase revenue. Some argue that the projected increase in GST by 2% is about increasing taxes on Singaporeans to return the same to them. What do the numbers say? Sir, estimated GST receipts for financial year 2019, this financial year, is about $11.7 billion. A further 2% increase in GST is expected to bring in an estimated additional $3.3 billion at best. As stated earlier, our estimated expenditure for 2019 is $80.3 billion. This does not even include special transfers which cover items such as CPF and Medisave top-ups, GST vouchers, SNCC rebates, wage credit scheme, etc., which is estimated at about $15.3 billion for financial year 2019. The projected GST increase is therefore simply only one measure to mitigate the trend of rising expenditure, but clearly is unable to meet it in full. One approach raised by Minister Heng in the budget statement is to pay for major infrastructure investments by borrowing. As Minister explained, this has been done before. For example, the building of our MRT lines in the 1980s. Other statutory boards and government-owned companies continue to borrow to finance major infrastructure projects. The Changi Airport Group is expected to take up loans to finance the development of Terminal 5. Singapore is in a better position now to dictate favorable borrowing terms than in the past, as our government's credit rating is now amongst the world's best. If the government provides a guarantee, presumably with the President's concurrence, we are likely to obtain even better terms. But borrowing is not without risk. We have seen enough examples around the world of countries mired in debt arising from careless borrowings and reckless funding of projects. It is therefore imperative that decision makers are prudent and proper due diligence carried out. Careful judgment needs to be applied to ascertain the financial sustainability and viability of each infrastructure project funded by borrowing. How can this be done? Will the government consider measures such as an independent panel or body to provide oversight over major infrastructure projects funded through borrowings? I am supportive of the strategy of borrowing for our major infrastructure projects and agree with the Finance Minister that it will achieve fairer and more equitable outcomes in the allocation of resources on expenditure. I invite the Minister for Finance to elaborate on his ministry's plans to ensure long-term fiscal sustainability in the light of expected increasing expenditure, as well as the measures that the Finance Ministry intends to take in order to protect our reserves in the light of the government's decision to borrow to finance major infrastructure projects. Sir, I support this budget. Thank you.
Minister Chan.
Mr. Speaker, sir, may I seek your consent to move that the debate be now adjourned?
I give my consent.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the debate be now adjourned.
The question is that the debate be now adjourned. As many as are of their opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Resumption of debate what day?
Tomorrow, sir.
So be it. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that Parliament do now adjourn to 11 a.m. tomorrow.
The question is that Parliament do now adjourn to 11 a.m. tomorrow. As many as are of their opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order.